Okay, welcome. This is intended to provide some familiarity for new players as to the layout of the screens and what have you within a Dangerous. When you first open and press continue, you'll be presented with this page. Private group, solo and open play. Open play is where everybody's in together if they're not in a private group or solo. And for new players, it's dangerous because if as soon as you come out of your starter area, you will get ganked. Most times, anyway. And people will just blow you up just for the fun of it. Solo play is exactly what it says. You play, the only other commanders you will encounter are NPCs, non-playing characters, and these are generated within the game to provide a little bit of perhaps combat, perhaps pirating experience, etc., etc. But any character in the game that is computer generated is an NPC, and they sometimes interact with you. They will always interact within the screens in the stations and the like. And then you've got private group. Now, private group is like solo play, but other people within your group can join you. Now, I'm Commander Elfin Safety, and I've created my own group that I allow other people to join. So basically, it's a tight little group that you can play in. And there's bigger groups like Mobius, which is PvE only, no player versus player. You attack another player without consent and you will be thrown out of the group. Simple as that. It's quite safe, and you will encounter other players probably within those groups. Now I'm going to start off with the Hammers of Slough, which is my group.
Welcome back.
I'm an experienced player. I have 3 accounts. This is my least advanced one. I'm elite in the 2 others. So okay, this is what you're presented with when you first load into your ship. What do we have here? We have details of where we are, Perry's Folly, and then we have details on the right hand side of the current status of the ship. The actual hologram of the ship with the blue circles around it shows that the shields are fully energized, and the hologram on the left hand side shows that we are parked at a planetary station, an orbiting station, platforms as they're called. Okay, now let's have a look to see what we have outside of this screen. Fuel is full. That's outfitting unavailable because it's not in this station. Stock, for instance, if you have limpets and the like for mining, or chaff for avoiding laser beam, avoiding targeting. If there's any needed there, it's red. And of course you can return to the surface without launching. I'll get to Starport Services in a short time, and obviously launch is launch. Okay, so within your ship you have the left hand screen. Navigation is exactly what it says on the tin. You can select anything here and fly to it. And you can see with those triangular, almost triangular symbols, they are fleet carriers, which you can land on. But the thing is, you land on a fleet carrier, forget about it, and you suddenly end up 400 light years away. Now, the ones with the circles on, like a system, are exactly that. They are systems, and you can see the distance on the right-hand side. And because of your jump range, which is how far you can go in a single jump, they are listed in that order. So if you ever want to jump somewhere which is the furthest distance, go to the bottom. Now that is a useful tip when you're avoiding interdictions, but we'll get to that at a much later stage. Now we'll go on to transactions. Now what you have in transactions is... I've got voice attack working at the present moment, which sort of mucks things up a bit. Okay, transactions. Oh, I've done it again.
Transactions.
Okay, I know. We'll go left, right again, I mean. Oh, no, it didn't. Right, if you have any missions, that is where they appear. All transactions. But you can split up missions, passengers. There are passenger missions, but you need passenger cabins. Claims. If there are any claims that you're making because you've scanned data, etc., somewhere or other, this is where they're listed and where you can claim them. Fines. If you're a naughty boy, you get fined and you've got to pay them. And bounties. Don't pay your fines. There's a bounty on your head. And if there's a bounty on your head, somebody can kill you, target you, blow your ship up, and claim that bounty. So basically, don't pay your fine, get a bounty, become a target. Okay. Now let's look at contacts. Now contacts are...
Contacts.
Oh, God. I should have switched voice attack off. That is basically who is in the area and what they're in. Perry's Folly, it's where I am. And also in this system there is a Cobra, which I haven't scanned. It just knows it's a Cobra, nothing about it. If you actually scan that vessel, it will show whether or not it's wanted, etc., etc. Whether it's harmless, mostly harmless, dangerous, whatever it is. The pilot, that is. Same with the, obviously, Eagle's the same. It's just unidentified, you haven't scanned it. When a ship jumps out of the area, it leaves a high-energy FSD wake. That can be used with a wake scanner for chasing it. So if, for instance, you're after a particular guy for a mission, if you have a wake scanner, if he jumps out into another system, you can use the wake scanner on the high-energy FSD wake to determine where he's gone, and you can follow him. But again, that's more advanced stuff. Okay, that's out the way. Let's look at the right panel. With the right panel, far more complicated. We'll leave this page for the time being. Look at modules. Modules are basically everything you've got installed on your ship. Some of them are necessary, some of them are not. For instance, every ship must have thrusters and frameshift drive. Otherwise, you can't go anywhere. Simple as that. Now, the thing is, you'll also see the power it uses, which can be quite excessive. Now, look at the bottom, and I'll come to that in a tick. And you can see priority. Imagine, for an instance, that 3 was slightly past the output available. So there was a little bit of an overlap. Right, okay, so what you've got to be able to do, but 1 was all right. So it basically means that I have priority 3 items, such as that cargo hatch. When you are flying, when you are in combat, and you've got your weapons out, which use power, what you don't need is your cargo hatch. Also, you don't need your fuel scoop, so I can put that up to 3 as well. And as you saw, that 3 got a little bit wider on the bottom. There's your only lasers. I haven't really got this one up. Sensors, you need sensors. But other things don't use power and you can't switch them off. But you can see what the state of and health, all 100%. You might find after a bit of a blow, you can, I don't know if it'll show on this. For instance, if my FSD was damaged, I could click on it, and if it needed repair, it would show repair. You can also switch it off, which is not a good plan. But you can do that with all of the modules. So at times, if it's faulty, check to see, or if you're having problems, check to see if it's damaged, and if it is, if you've got what's called an automatic field maintenance unit, AFMU, you can repair it. Otherwise, you need to be in a station to repair it. If you don't have one, it's a bit of an issue when you're exploring, or if you're in combat. So you need to fit one as another module, which you buy from the shop. Okay. Fire groups. This is important.
Fire groups.
I'm going to switch voice attack off because it's causing a bit of a pain. There it goes. Right, fire groups. Important. You've got lasers. Now, when you open up the fire groups initially, your lasers are put in as a fire group, and they're triggered by whatever you have as your primary fire button, which is 1. Your secondary fire button is 2. These things down here are not, they might be there within your utilities, but they are not assigned. You need to go into detail surface scanner, for instance. I can make that a 1. There you go. Now you change fire groups using whatever key that you have bound to it. You know, previous fire group, next fire group. So when you are actually flying, you can switch between combat, data link scanner / discovery scanner. Discovery scanner is important, and the detailed surface scanner also important, but you can't afford that first time round. Okay, come back to ship. Inventory. I've got nothing in my cargo, but that's basically everything. Refinery. That's used for mining. If you go mining, which used to be quite lucrative, going to be nerfed in the next few days, but quite lucrative. You need a refinery to take the ore that you found and put it into a usable, sellable commodity, and the refinery does that. Materials. Materials are gathered to enable you to engineer your ships. Also as rewards, you pick them up off the surface of planets by mining or by collecting them off blown up ships. Again, slightly more advanced. Data. Again, like materials, you pick them up for various sources by scanning data sources, and some of this information is also provided as a reward, but they are used again generally for engineering. Like disrupted wake echoes, you have to have a wake scanner. So you sit outside a planet or a station, and you wait for ships to come and go, and then as they go, you scan their wakes and you collect that. Whoops, not too much. Synthesis. Right, okay. One thing I didn't say, that some of the materials and some of the wake scanners things can be used for synthesis. Many materials, don't think wake scanners and things like that. So what I can do, for instance, FSD injection, that boosts your range up to, I think it's three or 4 times. Very rarely use it myself. It can damage the ship. But if you go onto that, it tells you need carbon, you need vanadium, you need germanium. And you can synthesize a boost. So you synthesize a boost, and from then on, you can go 25% distance. Let's have a look at the others. 50%, 100%. Oh, it doubles your range. And you see here, I've got carbon, germanium, and niobium. I haven't got arsenic, yttrium, or polonium, but I've got everything there. I can have a 50% boost if I need it. Always handy, actually, if you're exploring, to have something here, because you can get caught in a cul-de-sac, and sometimes you, instead of backtracking, you might need to, no fuel scoops and what have you. You may need to boost your range to get out of it. Right, anything else there? no cabins. Cabins, passenger cabins. Passenger cabins are used obviously to carry passengers. Can be lucrative and can be risky. It's good, it's fun actually, and you get to see a lot of tourist beacons. Right, let's look at status. No, I'm going to look at ship now. Ship now. Functions. These are where you set things up. For instance, obvious things. External lights on and off. Night vision on and off. Landing gears deployed, etc., etc. It's common sense really when you have a look at it. It's just knowing where it is. So let's have a look down now. Flight assistance. Now flight assistance is something which helps you control your ship. You can switch it off. It gives you more maneuverability, but slightly less control. It takes experience. Pilot preferences. Okay. Right, gun sights. When you, for instance, have kinetic weapons which fire lead, basically, whatever, it fires missiles at you. If they're not homing missiles, you have to aim ahead of the ship or wherever, whichever direction it's going. So a leading gun sight knows when it's lined up, depending on speeds. Report crimes against me. If somebody blows you up, he should get penalised. Pre-flight flight checks, that's a pain in the backside. Switch it off. Right, sensor scale. That is the circular thing in the centre of your console. It's linear or logarithmic. I haven't noticed any difference. Right, and now we have display. Orbit. Oh, orbit lines off. Orbit lines off. It's sometimes useful to have it on. All it basically does is give you circles around planetary orbits, etc., etc. Enables you to sort of line up, basically. I have them off. Display, something you can't really see that the way the light is behind it. But display on or off. Yeah, I'd like to be able to read what that is. And interface brightness, you can change that, etc., etc., as you wish, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. And statistics. Again, doesn't affect what you're doing, just keeps you up to date. You can see what your shield health is, etc., etc. Jump range, shield health, resistances. As you get through the ships, this might be important if you're in combat. Okay, that's that one out the way. Now let's have a look at status. Top one is system factions. There are 3 factions. Well, I'm sorry, I should say. They're factions in the system that you are in. It's useful if you're allied or friendly because you get better missions. And that changes as you go around. Sometimes you've done nothing for them. This symbol here shows the alliance of the faction. The ones with the circly thing, they're Federation. There's an independence type of thing. Federation. There's Federation. Now with Federation, I'm allied. And I'm warrant officer, which is about number 6 or 7 on the rank scale. Plenty to go yet. Empire, another major power broker in the Milky Way, in the bubble. I'm cordial. I haven't done any work for Empire or the Alliance, but sometimes when you complete missions, it just happens. But I'm trying to rank up in Federation because it gives you access to different ships. Session log, that's what I've actually done. If you want to find out, oh, I was there, I was at a planet 3 or 4 hours ago, or 3 or 4 jumps ago, where is it? You can find it here. Finance, how much money have I got? Simple as that. How much is it going to cost to buy my ship if I blow up? Never fly without rebuy. And the last one, what permits do I have? You get some permits simply by achieving running missions for particular areas. Sometimes you get permits by achieving certain ranks. It varies. Each of them have different things. For Sirius, for instance, you run missions for the Sirius Incorporated faction, and they'll give you a permit when you're good. Some just happen. Okay. Playlist. You can play music, but it's not allowed really, but there we go. And here we go. This is me. I'm harmless in combat because I don't use this account for combat. I'm a merchant. Or I'm not that I am a merchant. I have 40% in merchant because I've bought and sold stuff, so that comes up gradually. Exploration status, pioneer. I've done a lot of exploration, and I don't play arena or CQC. Okay. Right, let's have a look. One thing you might like to do is follow me. Hello. When that opens up, it shows you what you're wearing. And you can change your characters, change all this bits and bobs, just play for fun really. And just do one, you can hair, chestnut, blah blah blah, fringe. Let's have a few different hairstyles. Etc, etc. You just play. I think I'll have that. Looks like my dearly departed wife. Actually, it does actually. Never mind. But anyway, that's I'll save that one. So there, and there's my other. And there's one. Oh, I've done it in the wrong one, you stupid bugger. Never mind. I'll change that one. I'll change that one now. Okay, so I want to make that male. Okay. Try and get it as back as I had. Complexion. Let's have a look at what presets I have. Until I have something. I'll have that. That'll do. Right, you can also change the suit and what have you. Anyhow, I've spent too much on that. That's hollow me. Let's go back. Training. This is where basically you can just do a bit of playing around, find out how to do stuff. It's simple as that, really. Right. Squadrons. When you get a bit further into the game, you can become a member of a squadron. A wing is up to 3 people flying around, or up to 4 including you, is flying around and doing missions together. A squadron is when there's a whole group of people doing things. Codex, have a look at that. So Commander Health and Safety, what have I discovered? 86 astronomical bodies in that sector, biological, geological things, and xenological, foreign Thargoids usually. Let's have a look, see what I've got here. They are fumaroles, ice fumaroles, geysers. These are all to be found on planets, obviously. Some things I haven't found yet. on this account. Okay, what have I found here? Thargoid interceptors, scavengers, scouts, uplink device, Thargoids, pods, Thargoid devices. Found all of those. Guardian objects. I've seen various bits and bobs as well with Guardians. Guardians are a race who were set out to oppose the Thargoids. Thing is, they do defend, even though they're no longer around, they defend their bases, and those sentinels are little, whatever they are anyway. Okay, knowledge base, questions, basically, and pilot's handbook. This is basically what you can do, and it gives information as to the best ways of doing, not the best ways of doing it necessarily, but ways of doing it. Okay. Right. Galactic Powers. I told you about the Alliance, about the Federation and Independence and what have you. Galactic Powers, here they are. These are all the leaders. Some quite decent. And some looking quite nasty. But they are useful to know. I'll get onto that when we come to the galaxy map. Right, engineers. Galnet News. Basically, it just tells you what's going on. If there's been any attacks, things like that. Thargoid conflicts and what have you. I wish it wouldn't go back to there. It's a bit of a pain, really. Now, engineers. You won't get them straight off, but engineers do particular things to your ships. Can do so. Professor Felicity Farseer is always the first one you need to go to. You can see it's listed: frameshift drives, engines and thrusters. That is what that engineer can improve, as long as you have the materials. What Felicity Farseer wants is provide there. You can see you can't select actually on this. You get an invite at a particular time in the game. And then if you look at the third in the log, it says you fulfilled your initial contract by providing a unit of meta alloys. They have to be found either on a planetary surface by blowing up a beacon within your SRV, which I'll get to in a tick, or you can actually buy it at Danielle's Progress, I think it's Danielle's Progress. I prefer to blow them up, it's cheaper. So that is what you can do with her. Frameshift drives, engines and thrusters. It's a good idea as soon as you can get there to improve your FSD and your thrusters. Definitely helps with missions. Again, we've got Marco Gwent who does power supplies, power distributors. Very useful. I need to go there myself actually in this account. Elvira Martuk, frameshift drives again, which you don't need now, but shield generators, which is also pretty good. Again, plenty of information on various other sites. Okay, let's have a look at the ship. Let's have a look at Starport Services now. I haven't talked about communication. That actually, to a certain extent of it, is a bit of a pain in the backside. You can chat to people individually. You get messages as to what you've done and the like and what have you. It's where you read them. Straightforward, really. You can contact people directly. Social, it's called. And then you've got history, who you've spoken to, and squadron feed. And incoming test channels, they're your settings. And what I didn't say was down here. Whoops. Let's go down to here. Within your system set up, you can have a hangar, and in the hangar or pod, or call it what you will, you can have an SRV, surface reconnaissance vehicle or something like that, or a buggy, and that allows you to drive around on planetary surfaces. You can land on planets that don't have an atmosphere at the moment, and you can drive around, and that's where you get your materials from. Videos to follow. Okay, that's that one out the way. Okay, let's have a look at the ship. Well, Starport Services first.